The following is a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. For more information, please visit our website at dallasgenealogy.org.
Is the audio okay, Tony?
Yes, it's fine.
Patricia Coleman is a professional genealogist specializing in DNA analysis and iris research. She is the owner of Patricia Coleman Genealogy LLC and writes a blog at patriciacolemangenealogy.com. Much of her recent work focuses on analyzing iris records, building DNA match family trees, and identifying shared ancestors through evidence-based methods. Patricia holds a PhD in chemistry from UC Davis, and her analytical background enhances her genealogical problem solving. She incorporates AI tools into her research to improve data analysis, automate pattern detection, and deepen genealogical evidence evaluation. She also is a moderator for the DNA Painter and Genetic Affairs Facebook user groups. Welcome, Patricia.
Thank you. Should I go ahead and share my screen? Okay. Okay, thank you. So today I'm going to talk about getting started with DNA Painter. And I want to also include some examples of how I go about figuring out where a match is in the family. And I'll explain that a little more later. So we're going to start out setting up a new account and then look at the different testing companies that support chromosome browsers and see how we would collect the data from them and put it into DNA Painter. So to start out, you want to make yourself a free account at DNA Painter. You would put in your name, your email address. A username is suggested, as opposed to using your email address, although I think both work. Your password, and like any other site, make sure you read the terms and conditions before you decide to sign up. So here's what I get when I make a new account. It wants me to create a new profile. And the profile is going to give me the chromosome map and an ancestral tree. I'll show the tree shortly. So you put in who the profile is for. So I'm going to make it for myself. And the question about male or female, it's at birth. A female gets 2 X chromosomes, one from mother and one from father, whereas a male only has 1 X chromosome that he gets from his mother because he gets the Y chromosome from his father. So that's the reason for that question, so that DNA Painter can represent your chromosomes properly. So this is my profile, and it might look like a blank page, but it's actually all of my DNA. And once I start adding shared matches is when we'll see a colored section that represents the segment that that person and I share. You don't put any raw data into DNA Painter, and you're generating an image, doing a lot of copy and paste. And so it really is sort of a painting in a sense. So the gear on the left-hand side of the screen is where you find settings. And I'm going to skip through some of these. Under actions, there's the option to share. Your painting, your chromosome map is private. So you can set it up sort of any way you want to. There aren't any real particular rules, so to speak. If you choose to share it with a cousin or something, theirs would be a read-only version. And further down that list is download a picture of the map, and that's how I generated the images for these slides. Over on the options, I've clicked some of the things I like, which is put the names on the segments, the match names, and the chromosome, the centimorgan values. And I like to show the centomere on the chromosomes. That's where the long part and the short part connect. Occasionally, a testing site will show one long a match that's that's kind of short on either side of the centimore, and have it cross, and that's typically not quite correct. It's probably two segments that are close together but not crossing. So for DNA Painter, you need a chromosome browser in order to get the segment data. So MyHeritage, Family Tree DNA, Living DNA, GEDmatch all have chromosome browsers and give you segment data. Ancestry does not. And so the suggestion is always download your raw DNA from Ancestry and upload to Family Tree DNA, Living DNA, and/or GEDmatch. Used to be able to upload to MyHeritage, but they're not accepting uploads anymore. So here's, excuse me, an ancestral tree I mentioned. This is my family. Excuse me. I'm an only child. On my maternal side, I'm an only grandchild. And so I'm always looking for distant cousins. My closest cousins on my mother's side are second cousin once removed. And my closest cousins on my father's side are second cousins. My father's side is where all the Irish is, and so my cousins and I have done the most work on that side of the family. What I'm going to do is start with my maternal grandmother, Louisa, and work up this chart, looking at match from each grandparent, and then shared matches of those. So here's my cousin Amanda. She's a second cousin once removed. She's the daughter of my second cousin, and she's on my maternal side. She's also on MyHeritage. So MyHeritage has under their data tools, I can't remember what it's called now, unfortunately. They have, among other things, the chromosome browser. So I can do that, put Amanda in the chromosome browser, and scrolling down, this is the top of the image, scrolling down would show all the segments we share. And at the bottom of the page is the list. And so I copy this list, and that's what this is trying to show you. And then I can paste it directly into DNA Painter. So I go over to my DNA Painter profile where it says paint a new match, and I paste all that data in. And one of the things that DNA Painter does that is, I think, is very nice is each of these testing sites presents their data a little bit differently. And DNA Painter can take whatever that testing site put up there and deal with it. And it will pick out what it needs and not bother with the stuff that it doesn't need. So there are two options. I can preview the segments, or I can save the match now. And since it's a known cousin, I typically will go right to save the match now. And so, yes, I know how we're connected. I've clicked that box. And then I name the match. What I usually do is take the exact name that the person had on the testing company, and then I add some information to tell me where I got it. So I've got my H from MyHeritage. The reason I do that is I paste data from all the different sites. And at some point in time, if I'm working on a particular problem that involves, say, if I didn't know who this person was, and I want to maybe see if they have a tree or gave some surnames or where their ancestors lived on the map and different things like that, I can easily find it because I've put in the name of the company or something that tells me the company, so I can easily find it. Excuse me. Now, the group name, I've got Jacob Wolf and Anna Marie Brill, who are my great grandparents. And let me show you. Naming the group, again, that's totally however you want to do it. Some people like to name it for the person that gave them the DMA. And for me, that would be my grandmother, Louisa. But if I look at Amanda, she got it from her great grandmother, Lizzie. And Lizzie and Louisa happen to be sisters. And so if I want to have a name that represents both where I got it and where Amanda got it, I need to use their parents, Jacob Wolf and Anna Brill. And that's what I prefer to do, but there's no right or wrong. You could name it whichever way made the most sense to you. And of course, at this point, DNA segment can only come from one person, and I have no way of knowing if it came from Jacob or Anna at this point. I'll show you later how we figured that out. So to continue on the Save Match page, I know it's a maternal match, so I click that, I select that. The choices are maternal, paternal, or not sure, basically, if you don't know how you're connected to the person. And then a color for that segment. Now, DNA Painter's going to suggest a color, and that's what it did here, and that's what I decided to just use. I'll show you how to change the color a little bit later. You can also add notes for the group or notes for the match. So these sort of turquoise colored segments are the ones that Amanda and I share. Now we're going to look at some shared matches that Amanda has. So we're on My Heritage, and we're looking at matches that the two of us share. And we have Haley here. And you'll notice this symbol on the right-hand side. That is telling us that we have segment triangulation. And typically segment triangulation tells you that there's a common ancestor. So there'd be a common, I know that Amanda and I have a common ancestor, but now this is saying that Haley has a common ancestor with the two of us. So clicking on this symbol brings up the chromosome browser. And again, it's telling us there's one triangulated segment. And scroll down, and here's where that segment is on chromosome 16. The red is for Amanda, and the mustard color is for Haley. And down at the bottom of the page is the information, the segment information that Haley shares with me. So I will copy that information and paste it into DNA Painter. And so I've got the heading that's at the top of the list, and then whatever chromosomes, in this case, it's only one, that are in the list. And since I don't know how we're connected, I'm going to preview the segment. This is at the top of my profile. It's telling me that I have one match segment. It says it happens to be basically overlap with maternal Jacob Wolf and Anna Marie Brill. That's just giving you a hint as to where it is. It's not telling you that that's where it belongs. I mean, it could be a paternal segment. Now, we happen to know it isn't, but don't take what it says there as, aha, that's where it has to be. You know, you need to research that one. So here's what it looks like. Here's the new match. This is where it would fall. And it shows at this point, Painter doesn't know what I think it is, whether it's maternal or paternal. So that's why it's showing it the way it did. And I'm going to name it Haley. Oh, here I said I didn't know how we're connected. I'm going to name it Haley, My Heritage again. And now, rather than put it in this group, I know she triangulates with Amanda and me, and it's got to be somewhere in that line, but it's not a descendant. She's not a descendant of Jacob and Anna, because she would be a second cousin or something if she is. And so rather than do that, I give it the name Triangulates with Amanda from My Heritage. It puts it in the same location, and I can do, I know where it is and that it's in the group, but again, it's not going to be from those two ancestors. It's maternal, and I used the color that DNA Painter suggested. So here's that. We've got Haley here and Amanda there on chromosome 10, I believe it is. And if we look at the amount of DNA I share with Haley, it's 15 centimorgans. I share 215 centimorgans with Amanda. So clearly, she can't descend from, she's not a closest cousin as Amanda is, and she would be further back in that line past Jacob and Anna. And 15 centimorgans, my heritage is suggesting that she's the fourth cousin's daughter, which would put her more like a third great grandparent level. So here's where Amanda and I fall, Jacob and Anna. And she'd be back, Haley would be back here or further back based on the amount of DNA she shares with me. Now we're going to move to my mother's grandfather's side. This one is kind of exciting to me because for my entire life and as far as anybody else in the family, we did not know past Emil and Ava, my great grandparents. We did not know who their parents were. We knew they came from Germany, and that was about all we knew. And recently, I was able to find their marriage record. And so now I have one more generation and know their parents' names. And I've been able to take Emil back further than that, but Ava not past her parents, but still better than what it used to be. So we're going to look at a match, Michael, who's also on my heritage, and he's another second cousin once we moved. And I'm not going to go through all the steps as I did just a minute ago because they're all identical. I would go to the chromosome browser, I'd copy Michael's DNA segments with me and paste them into Painter. And then I'd look at the shared matches, which is what we're looking at here. And we have a match named Blue. And you can see he triangulates. And so we're going to collect that data and add it. And here's the pink is Michael's matches. That's the color DNA Painter picked, and that's Emil Sauerwall and Ava Snyder. And there they are. And the lighter pink over here is this match from Blue that triangulates with Michael. Whoops, back up one. Click too fast. So now I'm going to jump to my paternal side. And like I said, this one we've done a lot of research on the Irish ancestors. So changing over to family tree DNA, Fred and Trish, the top two here, are both second cousins. Fred is on my dad's father's side and Trish is on my dad's mother's side. And those are the ones we've done the most research on. And you notice family tree DNA, I don't know if they still do this or not, but they used to, when you had the person in your tree, it would show up with the blue for paternal and the red for maternal. And we'll see the red J a little bit later, who's a third cousin to me. So looking at this list, we're going to look at Trish in a minute. And looks like two people or something there. When you click on that, you have two options to get the in common with matches or the not in common with matches. I'm not sure exactly why you'd want the not in common with, but anyway. The trees, when it's filled in like that, it means there is a tree. And when it isn't filled in, there's no tree. And the third symbol that looks like a little note or something is just that. You click on that and you can leave notes for yourself. So we're going to look at Trish. Excuse me. We go up to the chromosome browser. And this is just part of the segments she and I share that the whole thing didn't fit on the slide very well. So here's Trish. And over here, it says download segments, and that's going to let me get the data to put into DNA Painter. So here's the list, and I copy the list, and I paste it into DNA Painter. And again, it's a known match, so I'm going to save it as that. And I name it under my great-grandparents, or shared great-grandparents, Thomas Burns and Bridget Fenton. It's paternal. And now I'm showing you changing the color. DNA Painter was going to use that kind of pale color, I don't know, sort of a pinkish, I guess, that I don't think shows up too well on the chromosome map, personally. So I picked a color. It could be one of the colors in the grid on the left, or you can pick any shade inside the box you want, or anything here you want. Or if you really want to make a certain exact color, you can put in the hex code. That comes in handy if you're making multiple profiles, say for siblings, and you want each of the siblings to have the same color for their grandmother or something. So now the red is Trish, and Trish and I share a lot of DNA, so much that often it comes, the things like the Shared Centimorgan Project will tell us that we're most likely first cousins once removed, but I know we aren't. Anyway, we're second cousins. Now you'll notice down here at the bottom, my X chromosome, and it's got a big red segment with Trish, 47 centimorgans. One of the nice things with the ancestral tree is it will show you who gave you an X chromosome. So the X chromosome that I got from my dad is identical to what he got from his mother. There's no recombination. And what she got came some from her father and some from her mother. And of course, her father, Thomas, got whatever he got from his mother, Honora, without any change. So basically, we go back as far as we can, known family anyway, and that segment either came from Honora Shannon or Joanna O'Brien. And a little bit later, I'll show you how Honora and Patrick Burns came from County Roscommon, and John and Joanna O'Brien came from County Limerick. And so if I can find other matches that indicate whether it's Roscommon or Limerick, I will be able to determine which one of them gave it to us. But so far, we don't know. It's either Honora or Joanna. A couple other things I want to show you with the shared matches with Trish. Chromosome 9, we've got these two segments. Looks like there's hardly a gap between them. Maybe it's bigger than I'm seeing. But if it's not much of a gap at all, it would show a recombination point, which is where the first segment, if it came from Thomas, it then changed and the second segment came from Bridget. It shows where we're going from one common ancestor to the other. Now, again, without more information, I can't tell you which is which. The other thing I wanted to point out in chromosome 10, Trish's DNA and Amanda's DNA, well, I know Trish is paternal and Amanda is maternal, but they basically overlap. Now, Trish is on all the different testing sites. And so she's on MyHeritage, and I could actually run Amanda and Trish in the chromosome browser and prove that there's no overlap, but I already know that there isn't. But anyway, that's just an aside, so to speak. So now we're going to look at some of Trish's in common with. So I select Trish, and then I select the in common with, and I get this list of matches. And down here at the bottom, you can put up to seven in it, in this list, to then go to the chromosome browser. I'm just going to put one, Joe. So we had Trish here before, and the color beside the person's name is the color you see on the chromosome map. So Trish is blue and Joe is red. And you can see that there are 3 segments that Joe has, 7, 9, and 10. And now when I go to get the detail segment data and download the data, that list is going to have all of Trish's data first and then Joe's. And so you want to, particularly if you've got 7 people here, you want to be careful and scan down to the person you want and only copy their data to put into Painter. Whatever's pasted into the Paint a Match box is assumed to be from one DNA match. And if you've got a mixture of people, it's going to be a big mess. So here's Joe's 3 segments, and you notice I will have underlined number 9, chromosome 9. It's showing 6.82 centimorgans, and Painter says to exclude segments under 7. The main reason for that is when you get to 7 and below, there's about a 50% chance that it's a false match. And some people like to set it higher than 7. Since I'm looking for distant cousins and working in kind of small numbers most of the time, I'm willing to put up with the 50% risk and leave it at 7 most of the time anyway. So what's going to happen here when I save that match is it's not going to show the chromosome 9 segment. So here's chromosome 7 and chromosome 10 because I let it stay at the exclude less than 7 centimorgans. Oops. All right, so I saved Joe. I said ftDNA to tell me where it came from. And like I did with the match with Amanda and Michael, I said triangulates with Trish rather than putting it into the Thomas Burns and Bridget Fenton group. And here's Trish and Joe on chromosome 7. And we'll see Fred in a couple of minutes. I guess I didn't get this image fast enough. And so we have Trish and Joe. And Trish and I descend from Thomas Burns and Bridget Mary Fenton. And is that segment that we share with Joe from Thomas or from Bridget? And how can we tell? So Thomas Burns was born in County Roscommon. And on the map, I've underlined Roscommon. It's up here. And Bridget was born in County Limerick, and that's down here. They met and married in the United States. And I've messaged with Joe a lot over the years, and his family is from County Limerick. So that tells us that that segment had to come from Bridget's side of the family. And that's one of the ways that I can sort which is which. Okay, so one of the things we've done with the Irish research is work with Joe's small tree and build trees for his ancestors backing up in time using the Irish records available online. The civil records start after 1864 in Ireland and free online, and baptismal records depends a lot on the location as to how far back those go. Some go back to around 1830, not many places before that. But we were determined that Joe's second great-grandfather was an O'Brien. And Bridget's mother, our second great-grandmother, is Joanna O'Brien. And we actually think that Joe's second great-grandfather and Joanna were most likely siblings. We don't, the but the baptismal records haven't survived that far back, so we can't prove it, but that's our hypothesis. So now we're going to move to the Barry side of the family, and that's where Fred, my cousin, is. And he's on GEDmatch. He's on the other sites too, but I'm using his as an example on GEDmatch. So I ran my kit. I have a combined kit that I made I'd uploaded Ancestry DNA to GEDmatch and then tested at 23andMe and uploaded that. And GEDmatch can combine the two kits into one that's supposed to work better with everything. So that's what the kit I'm running is. So the first kit is my Ancestry kit, the first hit. The second kit is Jennifer, my daughter. And there's Trish and there's Fred. So we're going to look at Fred. So I run 1-to-1 with Fred and me. And get the whole page of all his data. And I can select all of it, the images as well as the numbers, and DNA Painter's go take care of that. I don't have to just go in and select certain things or set it up a certain way. So now the dark blue is the segments Fred and I share. And we're going to look at a shared match with Fred that's pretty interesting. Mike. So we run the 1-to-1 with Mike. And there are two segments that Mike has. One on chromosome 12 and one on chromosome 20. And so I know that he's on chromosome 20 and so is Fred, and triangulates with Fred and me there. So I put him in a group that says triangulates with Fred. So here's chromosome 20, and I put in fake numbers or letters for the GEDmatch name. The GEDmatch kit number. I typically put in the name and the kit number again to keep track of where things came from. And so we know that Fred is on my Barry side on chromosome 20. Well, no, excuse me. We know he's we share Edward Barry and Pauline Freilich as common ancestors. I'm getting ahead of myself. And if we look at Mike's segment on chromosome 12, he's underneath Trish. Well, what's going on here? I only have one paternal chromosome, and that kind of sort of says that he has to match Trish. So let's go find out. Sure enough, Mike and Trish triangulate with me on chromosome 12. So here we have, he triangulates with Fred and me on chromosome 20 and with Trish and me on chromosome 12. So what I'm going to do is edit chromosome 12 to show that. So I use this mass edit mode. I select that segment on chromosome 12, and then I'm going to move him to the group that says triangulates with Trish. So here now we have one group triangulating with Trish and one with Fred. Chromosome 12 triangulates with Trish. Excuse me. And chromosome 20 triangulates with Fred. So here's Fred and my segments. And Fred and I descend from Edward Barry and Pauline Freilich. Edward was born in County Kilkenny, Ireland. Pauline was born in Baden, Germany. They met and married in the United States. So after a lot of conversations with Mike, his family is from Ireland. So that tells me that chromosome 20 has to be on the Barry part of Edward Barry and not on Pauline Freilich. Mike's grandmother was a Byrne. and Trish and my great-grandfather, Thomas Byrne. So that explains those two segments, because Mike's whole family is from Ireland, and then he's got a Burns ancestor, just like Trish and I do. Again, we haven't been able to go back far enough to make the connect. Well, it's his grandmother. We still haven't been able to connect the two families because the segment isn't all that big. Would be back pretty far, but anyhow. And so that's some of the ways that I try and figure out family based on, since they lived in different places, whether it was Roscommon and Limerick or here, Ireland and Germany, it helps to be able to sort things fairly easily based on some of the trees. My German side is not going to be that easy because most of them were from Marburg. So I want to look at living DNA. So you'd go to family matching and look at your matches. Now, I said that Trish and Fred were on all the sites, well, except for nobody's on Living DNA but me. They are on all the others. But here we have Joe as my highest match. And you remember Joe triangulated with Trish back there in Family Tree DNA? Joe is also on my heritage. And this Joe is in Ireland. Well, could it be the same person? Well, the segments look sort of familiar, but let's copy them and put them into Painter. Notice what they put into DNA Painter. Look at those numbers. I mean, how many decimal points are you going to put on a number? Forget about significant figures. They obviously did, but DNA Painter takes care of it. And so I previewed it, and sure enough, Joe lines up with where Joe from Family Tree DNA was. Well, I knew it was the same person. I just proved it. Okay. So we go look. We're not going to paint Joe a second time. I don't want to do that. But I know that it's correct. So we're going to look at his match Henry, and he has a segment on chromosome 7. And we're going to paint Henry's match. And we previewed it, and there it is. And he lines up with Joe. And Henry from Living DNA. And I'm going to name it Triangulates with Joe, because Joe and Henry are both on Living DNA. And strictly speaking, the only way you can have segment triangulation is to have both of the matches on the same testing company, where they've got the raw DNA that's getting compared. Whether you uploaded your data there or tested there, they've got the raw DNA, so they can make the actual comparison. We know he's paternal, and we picked the lighter turquoise color. So here's the 3 matches, Joe and Trish and Henry. And one of the things that I think I said before, I like about DNA Painter is, okay, I can compare Joe and Trish exactly because they're both on the same testing company. I know they triangulate. And Joe and Henry are on a different testing company, but they triangulate. I only have one paternal chromosome 7. So Trish and Henry have to triangulate on that segment, but I can't do it directly because they're not on the same company. But because I can put data from segments from all the different companies onto DNA Painter, I can see that. I probably wouldn't come out and put it in writing that they triangulate, but like I said, I only have one paternal chromosome 7, so they sort of have to. So what we've done so far, we set up Painter. We added matches from all the different sites. We showed how to connect family lines, some of my examples. There's one more thing I want to show you, because this is kind of fun, I think. So here's Amanda on chromosome 10, We saw her from MyHeritage. She's a second cousin once removed. We've got this nice segment there. And our most recent common ancestors were Jacob Wolf and Anna Brill, my great-grandparents. But a particular segment can only come from which one person. So was it from Jacob or was it from Anna? So here's our little tree. M is another second cousin once removed, and she used to be on GEDmatch. She no longer is, but I still have the data on there from earlier. And so she and Amanda actually are first cousins, and they're second cousins once removed to me. And there's the tree, and it's either Jacob or Anna that we three all got the segment from. So here's some third cousins. Laura, Carol, and Jack tested at 23andMe. This is back when I could get data from 23andMe. And Jay, you might remember I said was a third cousin that we saw on Family Tree DNA. Carol and Jay are third cousins, and Laura and Jack are third cousins once removed. And here's their tree. There's Laura is Carol's daughter. Here's Jay, and here's Jack. And their common ancestor is Philip Brill and Elizabeth Schaff. Well, their segment is in the same location as my segment with Amanda and M. And so now we know that the data that the segment that Amanda, M, and I got had to come from Anna, who got it from her parents, Philip or Elizabeth. Well, we keep going. Here's Stephen, who also tested at 23andMe, and his segment is also on chromosome 10. He's a fourth cousin once removed. His most common ancestors are Matthias Schaff and Anna Kunst, and they were born in Marburg in 1788. Here's the tree. So if we go to Stephen and work our way up, his most recent common ancestors were Matthias Schaff and Anna Kunst, and their daughter is Elizabeth Schaff. So now these third cousins had to get their segment from Elizabeth and not Philip. And Amanda and Em and I got our segment from Anna. So we all got our segment from either Matthias or Anna Kunst. And here's chromosome 10 with them all put in. And I've added a Schaff Kunst line up here at the top, starting at the earliest start point, which was on M, and the latest end point, which is Amanda. These all overlap in one way, shape, or form. Amanda doesn't overlap much with the third cousins or the fourth cousin once removed, but she overlaps with M, and M overlaps with all of them. And so that whole segment there came from either Matthias Schaff or Anna Kunst. And until I have another match that's a fifth cousin, which may never happen, I can't determine whether it's Matthias Schaff or Anna Kunst. It's not often I can do that since I'm an only child and I don't have that many cousins. It's a lot easier if you've got a whole lot of cousins and whatnot. So in summary, we set up DNA Painter. We added DNA segments from all the different sites. I tried to show different ways how the family's connected. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Well, we'll start online. Amy, do you have any questions from any of your group there?
Sue does. Sue has a question. Sue, do you want to come off mute and ask it?
Patricia, I liked how you talked about naming groups triangulating with XX.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any additional suggestions with adoptees using DNA Painter?
Let's see. You can put in since I don't have a lot of known cousins, I'm going to stop sharing. Since I don't have a lot of known cousins, I've often painted a lot of unknown matches. And what I typically do in that situation is start with some unknown match that's got a decent amount of DNA. That depends on, you know, what decent is depends on each person, I guess. Because like I said, I work with smaller ones than some people like to. And then I would add all the triangulated matches to that one. I'd put it in as unknown and I had triangulated matches from the same testing site and add notes, if they said something about some ancestors or they have a tree that tells me something. I know on MyHeritage, some people put in trees, some people put in information about ancestor surnames, or MyHeritage puts it in. And I do it that way. And lots of times later on, I'll find some known match and it overlaps with them. And if it's on the same testing company, then I can go and see if that group is paternal or maternal based on my known match.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Any questions here in the auditorium? Nope.
Let's see, there's I guess questions or something in the chat.
Amy, are there more questions from the Zoom group?
No, Bob was just asking, was this going to be available online? And it should be.
Okay.
Yes, it will be available for a period of 1 year. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'll ask another one, Patricia, while we're seeing if there are any questions in the room. You mentioned reaching out to some of your contacts as you're doing DNA
Yes.
painter
Mhm.
analysis. Any suggestions you have for approaching all those cousins you don't know?
Right. Some have been, obviously some are more willing to reply than others. And I can't say that I've seen any particular site that's has more people that reply than sites that don't. But some of this, well, let's see, DNA Painter's been around 8 or 9 years at least. Yeah. And I've been involved almost since the beginning. So I know some of these people I contacted a long time ago, and like Joe, he was on several different sites, and so I knew it was the same person, and so I had contacted him, and then I saw he was on Facebook, so we became Facebook friends, and we started messaging that way. And he had a tree that ended with his paternal grandparents, just their surnames. And that's when I started digging in the Irish records to take it back further. And if I ever get to Ireland, he's going to he lives in Dublin, but his ancestors are from Limerick. He's going to take us down to Limerick to meet the rest of them. And I found several other cousins that are on that same line. There've been other cases where there's some people where this was 23andMe that matched Trish and me, and I messaged them on 23andMe and never hear back. So I have no idea how they're connected. They didn't have any information there either. And so it's I don't have a good idea of what to say to make it work. Occasionally I get messages out of the blue, and then I try and follow up with those and see what they're doing and what I can do. And so I've had pretty good luck with some of the people that live in Ireland, actually.
Well, this has been absolutely fascinating. Thank you, Patricia. We would like to extend a round of applause for your help and support.
Thank you.
And I think that we are all a little jealous of knowing that you're at a frozen lake. It just sounds absolutely lovely and beautiful, and such a foreign concept to be so close to the Canadian border for those of us so far south.
Mhm.
Well, with that, let's see if I should switch. We're about to switch gears into our program now that we've got the DNA painter out of the, this amazing presentation painted for us. Now it's time to start the award presentation of the afternoon, which brings us that much closer to cake. You can tell my priorities today, I'm a little embarrassed by. But with that said, I'm just looking at Tony. would you
I'm going
help
to
me
take
so
off.
kindly? Bye, Patricia.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. We wish we could share our cake with you.
Yeah.
Right? Virtual cake. Okay. So with that, I would like to turn this over to our our board committee that has put together this, our awards committee. Mr. Hanson, take it away.
I got it. Thank you. So I would like to thank the rest of the committee. So Corley Story, who was not able to be here with us, Pat Hernandez, and Cheryl Freeman, who you'll see up here just a bit, I think helped put together a pretty good slate of recipients, and one of which is, now 3 minutes away? Dan's on his way. So, all right, but luckily he's not up first. So I have the honor of presenting the first award. It's the Award of Merit, which honors members whose dedication, service, and contributions consistently go above and beyond. This year, we are proud to recognize Bernard Meisner and Ann Breuer. Since founding, yes, applause is truly appreciated. Since founding the German Genealogy Group in 2019, Bernard and Ann have provided exceptional leadership, building a vibrant and thriving special interest group that has enriched our society's programming and strengthened member engagement. They were also instrumental in developing our hybrid meeting format. That was the very first meeting that we cut our teeth on. They overcame the technical challenges and created a model that's expanded accessibility, and has obviously later expanded to the entire society, and has enabled us to hold these meetings through COVID and through all of that. So we're really grateful to them for pushing through for that. So through numerous educational presentations, they have generously shared their expertise in German genealogy, making complex topics approachable and valuable for researchers at all levels. In addition, their efforts have established a connection with the International German Genealogy Partnership, and has brought new opportunities and global perspectives to our members. We've had some fantastic presentations from people all around the world because of that. So through their leadership, innovation, and dedication, Bernard and Ann have made a lasting and meaningful impact on the Dallas Genealogical Society, for which we're truly grateful. So it's with great appreciation that we present the Award of Merit to Bernard and Ann. So please join me in congratulating them. We have two wonderful awards to present. Unfortunately, Bernard is not here today. Ann is shamefully moved to Illinois, but Ann will get it in the mail to you very soon. And Ann, who also fills in and helps with the questions and answers on these meetings, is here today. So Ann, if you just want to say anything at all, we'd love to hear from you.
I just turning my video up. There we go. Thank you very much. I did not expect that.
Well, we'd like to keep it a surprise, but again, we think it's well deserved, and really appreciate all that you and Bernard have done for us. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I'm going to ask Pat Hernandez to step up here.
Made shorter. I'm Pat Hernandez. I'm the coordinator for all the volunteers. And because of that, I get to announce the Volunteer of the Year award. It's presented annually to a member who has generously volunteered time, expertise, talents, and abilities to the society during the previous year, to the extent to make that member stand out and draw attention. This year, we are excited to recognize Betty Case in recognition of her outstanding service and dedication. Betty has been a DGS member for over a decade. She has been the welcoming face of hospitality at our meetings and seminars since 2022. As the tireless coordinator of refreshments, she has taken full responsibility for planning, organizing, and maintaining the Society's hospitality efforts. Betty has diligently maintained inventory, made countless trips to restock supplies, and ensured that every event is welcoming and well supported. Her consistent presence at nearly every meeting and seminar reflects an exceptional level of commitment and reliability. Beyond her contributions to event hospitality, Betty has also demonstrated remarkable leadership within the society. She has been highly active in the Best Practices Special Interest Group and, over the past year, stepped up to assume full responsibility for the group during Liz Kuntz's sabbatical. She has refreshed it with her well-planned program of studies for the group, as well as having the monthly meetings streaming again on Zoom, and thus open to more attendees. In doing so, she ensured continuity, stability, and ongoing engagement for its members, an effort that required both dedication and a willingness to go above and beyond. Betty's contributions exemplify the spirit of volunteerism. She not only fulfills her responsibilities with care and consistency, but does so with a positive attitude and a genuine desire to support the society and its members. Her efforts have made a meaningful and visible impact, enhancing both the member experience and the success of the society's programs. And she makes my job so much easier. So please join me in congratulating Betty. Thank you.
You get to come up and. Oh, there's more. There's more. Here we go. We will. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Oh, there you go. Done. One more. There we go. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And Cheryl Freeman is our next presenter. And our recipient is not quite here yet, is he? He's close. He's really close. Stretch it out. Just talk slowly. Use the little words.
Okay. Our next award is a really special one to me, and I asked Tony if I could present this just because I was so impressed with what has happened. The award is the Heritage Preservation Award, and it's presented annually to an individual or a group or an organization in recognition of contributions to preserve, conserve, house, or collect family history. This year, we are proud to recognize Daniel Babb. He's a fifth-generation Texan. A lot of you know about him. That's great. He is a fifth-generation Texan. He is the creator. He's a historian and he's a genealogist. He has a passion for uncovering Dallas's past. He's the creator of the Dallas Rediscovered Project, which preserves the rich history of the Dallas metropolitan area through genealogy, historical narratives, and preservation efforts. He also heads initiatives such as the Seth Babb Homestead Project, which preserves a 1787 homestead in Greenville, Texas, and Babb Unabridged, which is a comprehensive genealogy project that explores the history of Babb families worldwide. And he's also a life member of the Dallas Genealogical Society. We are recognizing Daniel for his work managing the rescue of the Dallas City Cemetery, which is also known as the Dallas Pauper Cemetery. And this cemetery was used for burials of the poorest citizens, those who were unclaimed or without means, from 1932 to 1978. Daniel launched this initiative nearly 10 years ago to restore dignity to this neglected cemetery, where some graves were unmarked, some had markers of concrete and metal plates, and some were submerged underwater due to erosion and flooding that lasted for months. Daniel and his volunteer team began preservation efforts by mapping the cemetery and enlisting the help of metal detecting enthusiasts. They located about 2,000 graves and 500 loose nameplates. In combination with death certificate research, Daniel has accounted for an amazing 99.9% of the burials. Daniel got funding for this project $50,000 in privately funded grant funds, a $40,000 matching grant from the Dallas Parks Department, and $50,000 in 2017 Dallas bond funds. The city of Dallas last year approved 1,000 granite markers for this cemetery. You can see Daniel's work on Find a Grave and on Substack, Dallas Rediscovered on Substack, where Daniel has documented the biographies of the interments. And I'd like to recognize and welcome Daniel. Thank you for the work you've done for the community. Thank you.
I brought today some of these markers that we're talking about. Yes. So thank you so much. I appreciate this. It means the world to me to have this project recognized. We have been at it for 9 years, and I brought 3 markers with me to show you what it is we were trying to locate and just how hard it is. This is a headstone. Another one in aluminum, which is such a tough metal. And they started with copper, eventually moving to steel, which held up better, but then it corroded and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that is what we're up against. The roughly 500 markers or portions of markers that we found are next door here in the archives. And you can go view them one at a time, as many as you'd like to see. Anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
And there's a few of those in the City of Dallas archives as well. If you go look through the records there, those little metal tags, I saw them. No, the City of Dallas has some. All right, the next award is the Lloyd DeWitt Bachstruck Award. It honors individuals whose contributions have made significant national impact in the field of genealogy, individuals whose work has shaped how we research, learn, and share family history. Today, it's my distinct honor to present this award to Blaine T. Bettinger. Blaine, and Blaine, who was with us, so we'll hear from him just a bit, but Blaine is widely recognized as one of the foremost educators and innovators in the field of genetic genealogy. Through his teaching, writing, and leadership, he has transformed how genealogists understand and use DNA, as we just heard in this presentation, making complex scientific concepts understandable for researchers at every level. As the author of the Family Tree Guide to DNA Testing and Genetic Genealogy, and co-author of Genetic Genealogy in Practice, he has created foundational resources that are relied upon by generations across the country. A highly sought-after national speaker, Blaine has educated thousands through conferences and institutes, empowering family history researchers to confidently incorporate DNA evidence into their work. He's the creator of the widely respected Shared Centimorgan Project, an indispensable tool for interpreting DNA relationships, and is the voice behind the Genetic Genealogist blog. Through these efforts and his leadership and initiatives such as the Institute for Genetic Genealogy, he has consistently advanced education and collaboration across the genealogical community and will continue to influence the field for many years to come. It's with great respect and admiration that we present the Lloyd DeWitt Bachstruck Award to Blaine T. Bettinger.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can see you too.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for this honor. I greatly appreciate it. It is my joy to be able to interact with the genealogy community, and my recent interactions with the society there have been wonderful. So I'm just so grateful for this honor, and thank you so much for this. I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
I'd like to add that this award comes with a $250 donation to a nonprofit organization chosen by the recipient. And Blaine has requested that we make the $250 donation to the Debbie Parker Wayne Memorial Fund administered by the Texas State Genealogical Society. And we've already made that donation. The fund sponsors lectures and attendance at conferences as determined annually by the Texas State Society Executive Committee. So we're honored to do that in your honor. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And the plaque's in the mail.
Thank you.
Ooh, these are the moments that we really get to appreciate the work that we do to keep being the story keepers of our community, that I'm totally fangirling out over seeing to see Blaine, but then also to hear the work that is being done in this community to preserve those graves. It's truly the passion that all of us have for genealogy, for our community, for the city of Dallas, and for preserving those stories. As president, I would also like to extend my sincere and heartfelt thanks to our board and all of you for your tremendous support and dedication to the Dallas Genealogical Society. Your willingness to give your time, your expertise, and your thoughtful leadership has strengthened this organization in countless ways. This year has reminded me that an engaged, collaborative community makes for all the difference. Through your guidance, flexibility, and shared commitment to our mission, the Dallas Genealogical Society continues to grow, adapt, and serve our community with excellence, as proven here today by these awards. I am deeply grateful for your partnership, your trust, and your belief in this organization and our collective work. Thank you for all that you do, often behind the scenes, to ensure the continued vitality and success of the Dallas Genealogical Society. So I have the honor of presenting 2 President's Awards today. The first goes with deep appreciation to someone who does not like Zoom. So chances are she is not online, but we will record this and make sure to send her this snippet. I want to extend my appreciation to Susan Rainwater, our treasurer. Allow me to be Vanna at this moment. Voila. She has stepped up midterm to serve as our treasurer, and Susan answered the call at a critical moment with generosity, professionalism, and calm assurance. Taking on this role midstream is no small task, and she did so with grace, clarity, and a steady commitment to the well-being of the Dallas Genealogical Society. Susan, thank you for your service, your reliability, and your dedication to DGS. Your support has made a difference, and we are sincerely grateful. With that, I would like to give my next award. There's a part to it. This is not it. In fact, my husband and I have been texting this morning that he's mad that I took the gavel off of our bookcase, but that's because the DGS gavel is actually at the engravers and they're not done yet. With that said, I would like to present an Award of Merit tribute for Tony Hansen. It is look, the best part is please catch this on camera as he looks surprised. It is my great honor to present him because as this past year, Tony has been a phenomenal mentor, steady guide, and enthusiastic cheerleader for me, not just for me personally, but for all of us as a whole. His generosity with his time, his wisdom, and his institutional knowledge has made an immeasurable difference. Tony leads with patience, humor, and a deep commitment to the mission of this organization, and he never hesitates to encourage others to step forward, grow, and to lead with confidence. In gratitude for his many years of service and for the lasting impact he has had on DGS, the Dallas Genealogical Society, I have had the DGS gavel engraved in Tony's honor. The gavel is a symbol of leadership, stewardship, and continuity, and it felt especially fitting. It is offered as both a thank you and a reminder that your guidance has shaped this organization and has played a meaningful role in my own growth as a leader. Tony, your influence will continue long after the sound of this gavel fades, but thank you for all you have done and given to DGS and for the example that you set for all of us. Seeing as he helped me to print out these awards, it's not a surprise, but the gavel part, I got him on. Okay, good. And now with that, I know the cake's come out. So I believe it is time to make this, bring this meeting to an adjournment and for all of us to celebrate with a little nosh. Thanks again for a great meeting, and we will see you next month, same time, same channel.
This has been a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. If you're already a member, thank you. Your fees have been supporting these and other society activities. If you're not yet a member, please consider joining now. Go to dallasgenealogy.org and click on the membership tab.